This story was about the world's most powerful dark wizard who reawakened after 15 years of imprisonment in a child's body. The story began when the god of destruction, named Anthrazax, attacked the world of people. Until a light emerged and a creature resembling a combined human and a dragon appeared. The Dragon Man defeated Anthrazax, and over a period of time, the battle between the two became a legend. But as time went by, the story about what happened became different from the real one. After 400 years, there were 4 divine kings who were planning and would try to revive the god of destruction because they would use it to conquer and change the whole world. Led by the wizard, named Osborn, together with the Dark Rebel army, they began to attack the kingdom of Metallicana. Due to the fact that the king, knights and the great priest were not currently in the kingdom, the group of Osborn easily defeated the soldiers guarding outside the wall. While the other soldiers, ministers, Princess Sheila, Yoko and Lucian were inside the palace. Then Yoko remembered the magic spell taught by the great priest, named Geo, who was also her father. This magic spell would supposedly bring out Lucian's second personality. Her father told her that she should only use it if the kingdom was in danger. And when he was not there, because Lucian's second persona was also a dangerous creature, but it could protect the kingdom from enemies. He added that this creature was the evil wizard, named Schneider, that he imprisoned in Lucian's body 15 years ago after he was reincarnated. But this spell would only work if Lucian was also kissed by a virgin girl. So Geo begged Yoko that she should not get married. Princess Sheila saw Yoko and also asked about the magic spell because Geo also mentioned it to her. But Yoko hesitated and was shy to do it in front of many people. Until the group of Osborn managed to get inside the palace. The 3 ministers of Metallicana approached him, who turned out to be the traitors of the kingdom. But Osborn just had them killed by the vengeful monsters who were with them. These monsters started to attack the soldiers inside, and kill them one by one. Until Lucian was hit by a giant, causing him to lose consciousness. Because of this, Yoko decided to do the magic spell that her father said, and kiss Lucian. Lucian's appearance and body immediately changed and he became Dark Schneider. The evil wizard was very happy to be freed again and immediately looked for Geo so that he could take his revenge on him. Osborn ordered the 2 giants to attack him, but Schneider just easily killed them. Even though Schneider's personality was back, he could still recognize Yoko because all of Lucian's memories were his memories as well. Osborn was surprised because Schneider used an ancient regeneration magic. Princess Sheila and the ministers did not expect that it was the Dark Schneider who was imprisoned in Lucian's body. They knew that it was Schneider who was the initiator of the Golem War 15 years ago with the 4 divine kings. The ministers even said that he also fought and killed one of the 5 knights, named Lars, the prince of Metallicana and Sheila's brother. Yoko added that when Schneider was about to die, he also able to use the ancient art of reincarnation. But even after Schneider came back, young Lucian manifested in his action, who was still afraid of being reprimanded by Yoko. Once again, Osborn ordered all the monsters to kill them, but they were all defeated by Schneider in just one attack. And using Schneider's venom technique, he also eliminated Osborn. After the fight, Schneider left the palace, and Yoko chased after him. Schneider told her that he was going to go look for Geo to take his revenge, and then he would start the war again. Since he was annoyed on her constant nagging, he kissed Yoko, but what he did not know was, this action would make him return to Lucian's form. When Lucian came back, he was surprised by what he was wearing, and he also could not remember what happened. Meanwhile, the 4 divine kings who were Kalsu, Gera, Arshas and Abigail found out about Osborn's death. But Kalsu wanted to confirm if it was indeed Schneider, so Abigail suggested to send Kevadubu, who had a pet hydra. At that moment, the hydra began to move towards the kingdom of Metallicana. Then Yoko saw that a dark cloud was approaching the kingdom. Geo took Yoko and Lucian to the palace because he had a hunch that something bad was going to happen. At the palace, they learned from a soldier who just came from the kingdom of Judas about the complete downfall of their kingdom. He added that the army which attacked their kingdom was now marching towards the kingdom of Metallicana. Geo arrived at the palace, then the king and the princess thanked Yoko and Lucian for their previous actions. Then Geo informed everyone that due to the actions of the Dark Rebel army and the manifestation of the Black Cloud, after a while, Kevadubu and the Hydra had entered the kingdom and immediately caused trouble there. This was immediately reported to the king and they thought of waking Schneider once again. With the insistence of the ministers and his father, Yoko had no other choice but follow them. When Schneider was awoken, the ministers asked for his help but he did not listen to them. He even said that if they insist, everyone must kneel to him first. This annoyed the ministers, so they ordered the soldiers to attack him, but they were blocked by Schneider's fire. Schneider released his strong aura and challenged Geo in a fight, while Kevedubu and its Hydra also felt this too. Schneider attacked Geo with his lightning spell Balvolt, but Geo immediately created an anti-magic shield. When Schneider found out that there was a golem hidden under the palace, he woke it up with his blood since it was also his disciple. The golem emerged and attacked the soldiers. Yoko wanted to stop Schneider but she could not do it. When Kevedubu and the Hydra got in the palace, the golem just beat the Hydra to death. And Kevedubu was killed by Schneider's venom. Schneider ordered the golem to attack Geo but Yoko stopped him. Yoko was angry with Schneider and told him that this could not be done by Lucian. Schneider seemed to calm down and told her that he was still the Lucian that she knew, and the important people in Lucian's life were also his. Because Schneider wanted Yoko to believe that he and Lucian were one and just the same, he kissed her again so he could return as young Lucian. Outside the kingdom, Gera observed not far away from it. Knowing Kevedubu's defeat, he's certain that it was Schneider that killed it. He told his soldiers that they were led by Schneider in a war 15 years ago. He also decided to find out why would Schneider seem to protect the kingdom. He informed his army that he would probably be the strongest enemy they would fight if Schneider became one of their opponents. Meanwhile, Geo explained to the ministers why he concluded that someone was planning to revive Anthrazax. There were 4 seals on Anthrazax, and all seals were being guarded by the 4 kingdoms. He clarified to them that even if only one of these seals was broken, it would be a sign that Anthrazax could live again. The dark clouds were formed because a seal had been broken when the kingdom of Judas had fallen, which was one of the kingdoms that guarded the seal. They had a hunch that the army was being led by Kalsu, so Yoko asked his father who Kalsu was. Geo told her that Kalsu was one of Schneider's 4 divine kings, and one of its closest friends before. Others said that they were almost equal in power, but some said that Kalsu was even stronger than Schneider. When Kalsu talked to Abigail about Anthrazax's condition, Abigail said that its heart began to beat after they broke the seal on the kingdom of Judas. One night, Gera entered Yoko's room because he knew that she was the daughter of the great priest who imprisoned Schneider. He tied Yoko on the wall and asked her where they hid Schneider. Lucian woke up and Yoko just told him to go back to sleep because there was nothing to worry. When Lucian lay down again to go back to sleep, Schneider suddenly awoken and made Gera stop what he was doing to Yoko. Gera immediately recognized Schneider's voice and was surprised that it was in the body of a child. When Geo arrived in the room, Gera immediately called the wyvern, then he took Yoko as he left the palace. He took Yoko to his castle which he had the army of ninjas. While Geo talked to the king and informed what happened to Yoko. They wanted to save Yoko with Schneider but they said that there was no other virgin girl that could kiss Lucian. Suddenly, Princess Sheila volunteered herself to do it since Geo already taught her what to do. But the king did not agree to this because for a princess like her, the kiss was a sign of marriage. While the king and the princess were arguing, Geo ordered the other ministers to take the king to his room first. When the princess kissed Lucian, Schneider had been awoken again. Geo begged him to save Yoko from Gera but Schneider refused to do it. So Princess Sheila pleaded on him to do it, but she received unpleasant comment from Schneider which she did not like, causing her to slap him. After that, Schneider had no other choice but accompany Princess Sheila and the soldiers to save Yoko. They reached Gara's castle because Schneider knew that it had not moved yet to another area. Meanwhile, Gera tied Yoko to an empty well. He told her that if she wanted to be released, she must tell him how they removed Schneider's seal. Then he started telling her the story of Schneider's past and its being a womanizer. He even added that one member of the Divine Kings also became its woman. Meanwhile, when the group of Schneider was near the castle, Gara's disciples attacked them. But with just one attack by Schneider using his magic missiles, the enemies were immediately defeated. After that, Schneider asked Princess Sheila to remove her armor as well as her sword because she only slowed them down. Then Princess Sheila followed his command and they continued walking. When Schneider reached the front door of the castle, he blew it up so they could enter. Gera found out about this right away and he ordered his army to be ready to fight Schneider. When the group of Schneider entered the castle, they were attacked by a minotaur. While their fellow knights were fighting against the minotaur, Schneider took with him Princess Sheila and climbed up to continue their search for Yoko. When they reached the top, they faced the monster Suzuki Dagizaemon. Since it had a shield, Schneider was having a hard time defeating it. So Princess Sheila helped and managed to remove its shield, then Schneider immediately attacked it. As they continued to walk, Sheila saw a sword and approached it. When Schneider saw her, Sheila already grabbed the sword but she could not control its power, causing her to hit Schneider in the stomach. Schneider knew that it was a trap and he could feel the poison affecting his body from the wound he received. So he ordered Sheila to suck the blood from the wound to remove the poison. Sheila had no other choice but to do it since it was her fault anyway. While Sheila was doing it, the demon god, named Ifrit, suddenly came out of the sword. Although he was wounded, Schneider fought against Ifrit. Since both used the same element and Ifrit's fire was more powerful, he had more advantage in their fight than Schneider. To protect Princess Sheila from the extreme heat when Ifrit attacked with fire, Schneider brought out his shield. Then he left her inside this shield and continued his fight against Ifrit. The god could not believe that Schneider could handle the extreme heat from his fire. Schneider thought of a way to defeat Ifrit and when he did it, Ifrit was thrown to the room where Gera and Yoko was located. The god Ifrit accepted his defeat and said that only Schneider was the only one who defeated him since he was born. Then he transformed back into a sword. When Schneider touched it, the sword did not react, which was a sign that it accepted him as its new owner. He used it against the enemies until he saw Gera while carrying Yoko. Then the two started their fight using their respective swords. Schneider put his sword aside and started to use the venom, but Gera moved fast and managed to cut off one of his arms. Gera thought that the venom would not continue but Schneider still managed to use it on him. Because of this, it melted and injured one of Gera's arm. Gera thought that Schneider did not have any other technique to use against him, but it turned out that Schneider had another one. Due to this attack, Gera's castle collapsed. While he and Schneider were talking, he remembered the little dragon Lars and was relieved when saw it clinging unto Sheila. Gera accepted his defeat to Schneider and informed them that the third unit of the rebel army was currently attacking Metallicana Kingdom. The small dragon approached Schneider and it turned out to be the same Lars who was the prince of Metallicana that Schneider had fought in the war. Kalsu found out about what happened to Gera, so he left Schneider to Arches because he was confident that she would win because her strength was far from Gera. While in the kingdom of Metallicana, their soldiers could still prevent the enemies which were led by Arches from entering. The kingdom sent a letter to the leader of the enemies suggesting a peace talk but Arches just killed the person who brought this letter. According to Arches, the war would only end if they could defeat her. Based on Kalsu's order to kill Schneider, she also found out that Gera lost in the battle because the ninja army suddenly disappeared after the castle collapsed. While Arches was resting, she entered the illusion which was created by Schneider. He intended to win her heart again but it did not work on her so she beat him up. When Arches got rid of the illusion, she summoned one of her generals, named Sean, and instructed it to get rid of Schneider. When Schneider was separated from the others, Lars went with him to keep an eye on him. While they were talking about Schneider's sloppy plan on Arches, they suddenly heard a woman scream. When they went to the area, they saw a big spider chasing a woman. But Lars immediately wondered why there was a spider in the area. Disregarding Lars' comment, Schneider still helped the woman and easily killed the spider. The woman took them to her house and fed them lots of food. After eating, Schneider had decided to spend the night there. While he and Lars were talking, the woman entered his room and tried to seduce Schneider. It turned out to be Sean and she was able to put a talisman on Schneider's back which immediately turned into a spider. Then she also told him that it was Arches who ordered her to kill him. The spider suddenly ate Schneider, while Sean was thrilled that she easily defeated him. But she did not know that she was already inside the illusion that Schneider created. He told her that before she could put the talisman on him, he had created an illusion on her. Because of this, Sean gave up unexpectedly because was amazed by his trick and was added to Schneider's women. The next day, Sean tried to stop Schneider from leaving because the other generals who were stronger than her were also waiting to kill him. She told him that she did not want him to die but she could not stop him. A soldier went to Arsh's and informed her of Sean's defeat on Schneider. She got pissed and immediately thought of the forbidden technique that he might used on Sean. Meanwhile, as they got near to their destination, they noticed the statues scattered around the area. Suddenly, one of Arsh's generals, named Kai, appeared to them. Kai ordered the monsters to attack them but they were quickly defeated by Schneider. Then he used Ifrit and destroyed Kai's armor. He was surprised to know that his opponent was also a woman. Kai used her Talos technique and Schneider's body gradually turned into stone. When Schneider found out that it was a high ancient magic, he thought of the ancient god from which it originated. Then he tried to find an ancient god which he could ask for help to remove this magic spell. Since Schneider could not move, Kai took advantage of this and attacked again using her Dio technique, but suddenly a spider blocked her attack and it turned out to be done by Sean. Sean told Kai that she could feel Schneider's power and it was so strong that even Kalsu or Arshas could not defeat. But Kai did not believe her words, so Sean was forced to attack her. But Kai easily defeated her spiders. When Kai mentioned the god that was the source of her spell, Schneider remembered that it was the one of the companions of a god connected to him. Because of this, he told her that he could deactivate all of Kai's high ancient magic. Schneider attacked with his Ray Bow but Kai did not budge and released her pet the cockatrice using the crystal. When the monster attacked, Sean was saved by Schneider, but one of his arms turned to stone. The cockatrice attacked again but Sean countered it and changed the direction of the wind, which made Kai startled and broke the crystal when she dropped it. Because of this, Kai could no longer control the cockatrice and it attacked her as well. The cockatrice gone wild, so Schneider killed it with just one attack. Before Schneider and Lars left, Kai warned them about the third general that they might face. They added that it was stronger than both of them because using its own magic he was able to make his body immortal. In the evening, Schneider felt the weakness of his body because of the battles he went through since Gaara's castle. His problem was they were in the enemy's territory but he still could not stop Lucian from coming back, who immediately looked for Yoko. The battle was still going on in the Metallicana kingdom while Yoko left the kingdom to find Schneider. Geo was informed by the soldiers that the fourth arch was destroyed and that they only had one arch left for defense. Fortunately, Gaara and the army of ninjas suddenly came to help Metallicana kingdom in the fight. As Lucian continued to walk in search of Yoko, they saw her bathing in the river. Meanwhile, the knights could not believe that what they were looking for was just a child. Then their attention went to the little dragon Lars. The knights were curious because it has the same name as the prince. They jokingly said that this might be the reincarnation of the prince. Because during the war against Schneider, the prince allegedly used the forbidden magic. It was this magic that transformed the prince into a legendary dragon to defeat Schneider. According to rumors, the two died at the same time, but no one has yet confirmed about the death of the prince. Yoko was about to go to sleep when suddenly she felt a bad aura. It turned out to be a werewolf that came to the area because of Yoko's smell. It easily defeated the knights who were with them. Schneider had been awoken but was beat up since he did not totally transform. But with just one blow from Schneider to the werewolf's stomach, it immediately writhed in pain. Schneider used the venom but the werewolf still managed to survive. Then he found out that this werewolf was Diamond's disciple, who was one of Arsh's generals. The werewolf also mentioned Diamond's plan to betray Arshas as well as Kalsu so that he would lead the conquest of the whole world. After the werewolf said everything Schneider wanted to know, he killed it right away. Lars realized that Schneider's reincarnation was not yet complete, and this was also noticed by Diamond, who was just watching from above. Because of this, Diamond was confident that he can defeat Schneider, so he decided to go down to them and face Schneider. But Schneider weakened again and Lucian returned. For this reason, Diamond easily caught them and imprisoned Lucian. Sean and Kai were also there because they were also caught by the assistant of Diamond, named Jodo. Diamond wanted to kill Sean and Kai because of their betrayal. But Sean and Kai already knew about Diamond's plans to betray Arshas, so they broke their handcuffs on their hands. The two told Diamond that they only pretended to be arrested so that they could be taken to his hideout. They attacked Diamond but the injuries he got were quickly healed. Kai used the cross and garlic but those did not affect Diamond too. When Diamond grabbed Kai, he sucked her blood. he said that he would become stronger than Kalsu and Arshas when he drank the blood of Kai and Shan. Then Shan and Kai mentioned Schneider, who was they believed to beat him effortlessly. Then Daimon pointed at Lucian and said that it was the Schneider that they were talking about. This information surprised Shan and Kai because it was just a child. When Lucian saw Daimon hurting Kai, Schneider's persona reacted to his cruelty towards her. Because of Lucian's fear, Schneider was able to control Lucian's body. But since Lucian was still awake, he could not totally transform into Schneider. But when he saw Daimon kicked Yoko, Schneider got so angry and he was able to transform fully. Schneider used the advanced Balvolt spell on Daimon, but it did not work on him. Then Daimon attacked Schneider with his assassin technique, and this made Schneider's body cut into pieces. Daimon was laughing because he thought he defeated Schneider easily. But he was surprised to see Schneider, who was right behind him and was laughing with him. It turned out that it was his disciple, Jodo, who was hit by his attack, and Schneider just laughed at him. In Daimon's anger, he used the rotating assassin, but Schneider absorbed one of it and returned the attack to Daimon. Schneider hit the wall behind his opponent and Daimon thought that he had missed his target. It turned out that he did it on purpose to break the wall and expose Daimon to the sunlight. And this turned Daimon's body to ashes. Schneider knew that a bat would rise from the ashes, so he waited for it. When it came out, Schneider attacked it and tore a small part from its wing. He told Daimon that when his bat form returned in the coffin, he would transform into a vampire again after 2 days. So Schneider turned the torn piece from Daimon into a blue nail and injected it into its bat form. Then he told Daimon that if he betrayed him, the color of the blue nail would gradually change, and when it became crimson red, it would kill Daimon right away. After that, Daimon got scared and flew away while his minions ran for their lives too. Meanwhile, in Metallicana Kingdom, Gaara's group was still fighting against the army led by Arshas. Kalsu saw that Gaara was helping Metallicana. Aside from that, they also learned about the defeat of Arshas' 3 generals. Because of this, Abigail thought that Arshas might also betray them because it was Schneider who took care of her before. So in order for Abigail to make sure that Arshas would not betray them, he wanted to use the accused spell on her to make sure that she would remain loyal to them. Arshas agreed to this, then Abigail performed the accused spell. After that, Arshas immediately left. Kalsu and Abigail also talked about Schneider and his changes. Because the Schneider they knew kills mercilessly, but he seemed to have changed because he let the 3 generals of Arshas live. Then they also planned to attack other kingdoms while Schneider was still busy fighting Arshas' group. Abigail knew that they made a good plan to let Arshas and Schneider fight each other. And in order for Arshas to destroy the accused spell on her, she would have to tear Schneider's heart while it was still beating. And if Schneider wanted to save Arshas from the accused spell, he had to sacrifice himself. Yoko sent Shan and Kai to the temple to help Kai heal from Daimon's bite. While Gaara was fighting the monsters, Arshas came and immediately attacked him. Then Arshas asked him why he betrayed them, and Gaara answered that he just felt happier to be on Schneider's side. Arshas could not accept this, so she used her Raijinkan sword on her opponent, which technique was known that could split even a mountain. Their battle continued until Arshas used the Dragon Blast Demon Slash that cut Gaara's arm and destroyed the bridge as well. Arshas thought she had won, but Gaara was still alive. She saw not just 1 but 7 Gaara who's laughing at her. Gaara used the true Majinkan on her, but Arshas knew that only one of those Gaaras was real and the rest were just illusions. Arshas was able to parry Gaara's real attack, but her Raijinkan sword was damaged. Despite that, she still continued her attack with an anthem, but it was easily blocked by Gaara. So Arshas used the Raijinkan technique on him again. It easily cut through the Murasama, causing the Raijinkan to hit Gaara. Arshas was about to kill Gaara when she was suddenly attacked by someone. Arshas survived and saw Schneider in the distance. She did not even realize that it was already behind her, who hugged her tight. Schneider once again seduced her, but when she saw her blue nail, she remembered what Abigail had said to her. From the color blue, it turned to purple, so she immediately removed Schneider's hands on her. Then she told Schneider that she would never let him fool her again. She called her Griffin, and before she left, she told Schneider that she would return after rebuilding her army, and that would also be the last day of the Metallicana Kingdom. While resting, Gaara warned Schneider against Arshas because she had gotten stronger in the past 15 years. Because of the continuous pouring of heavy rain, they knew that the kingdom would be safe from any attack for the meantime. Geo and Princess Sheila went to the fortune teller in the kingdom and asked about the seal that was used on Schneider. They also wanted to know why Schneider was able to transform even without being kissed by a virgin, since they thought it was impossible to break the sacred seal of an evil person. According to the fortune teller, based on what she could see in her crystal ball, the sacred seal on Schneider's body was still in perfect condition. But she immediately thought that it might be because of Anomata. Even though they knew that it was impossible to break the sacred seal, there was still a way to break it. This would happen if the one who tried to destroy it has love in her heart, in other words, that person's intentions were true and good. The crystal ball lit up again and they saw Schneider with a hole on his chest and had no heart. When Yoko went to see Schneider, she saw him and Sheila hugging each other, so she immediately hid. Schneider laughed at Sheila when she told him about the prediction on him, while Yoko was listening to what Schneider and Sheila were talking about. They also discussed about Arshas and what the fortune teller saw in her heart. She had so much anger in her heart and this hatred was devouring her soul. Princess Sheila also told him that she was worried because he was risking his life just for the kingdom. But Schneider made it clear to her that he did not care about the kingdom, for he just wanted to have the Dark Rebel army in his hands again, so he can conquer the world no matter who decided to fight him. On the other hand, the soothsayer was surprised to see a reaction from the crystal ball, because this was the first time that this thing had been like this. And from Arsh's attack called Megadeath, the other part of the palace collapsed. Schneider did not like what Arshas did, and when he was about to approach her, Princess Sheila stopped him. So Schneider borrowed money from Yoko and she gave him a coin. Then he promised that he would try to return the coin to Yoko once it's done, because he could no longer avoid fighting Arshas. Arshas also used the Reijinkan that was restored after it was broken in her fight with Gera. Then Schneider used the magic that would make him fly to get closer to Arshas. At that moment, Arshas released the black liquid lightning sphere that could absorb magic. It absorbed Schneider's magic to fly, causing him to fall to the ground. Arshas was about to attack when Schneider used magic, but she just absorbed it. Ifrit suddenly appeared and immediately transformed into a sword. When Arshas attacked, Schneider aimed at the griffin, which caught fire and fell. Based on Gara's observation, although Schneider's sword was as strong or possibly stronger than Arshas' sword, he was still in danger. Because Arshas was trained as a swordsman of the Hurricane style of swordsmanship while Schneider was a wizard. So he was not sure if Schneider could win in a sword fight. When their swords met, Ifrit suddenly spoke. According to Ifrit, the world needed Schneider's power. When Schneider and Arshas both dropped their swords, Ifrit grabbed the Reijinkan and let it be absorbed into the lightning sphere. But Arshas suddenly attacked Schneider and hit him in the forehead. Although wounded, Schneider stood up and they both used magic to fly. They continued their fight and both also used the riot. Schneider attacked with Exodus, but they were surprised because Arshas could also use it. Before their attacks hit each other, Schneider suddenly remembered about the memories he had with Arshas when they were together before, causing him to lose his focus and be hit by Arshas' attack. They all thought that Schneider was dead, but they were surprised when he suddenly got up. Yoko and the others were very happy to see that Schneider was fine. But after a few minutes of him being boastful, blood once again came out on his forehead and he also weakened. When Arshas was about to attack again, Schneider immediately told her that he loved her, which made Arshas hesitated to attack. But Arshas did not believe him and she released thunder spirits. Left with no other choice, Schneider released his fire spirits too. Their summoned spirits started fighting and Schneider told Arshas to stop, but she did not listen to him. So what Schneider did was to stay away from Arshas and talk to her again. During the chase, Schneider told Arshas not to give in to Kalsu's Sorcerer Kingdom plans because it was just Kalsus's excuse to conquer the whole world. But Arshas replied that Kalsu was not like him, who just wanted to conquer the world to have a lot of women on his side. She added that unlike him, she could see Kalsu's plans leading to her dream world. When Arshas approached Schneider to attack him, he was able to get hold of her. He reminded Arshas of the memories they shared since childhood. Suddenly, the accused spell reacted and Arshas felt so much pain that it caused her lightning to be released and hit Schneider. Abigail was entertained as he and Kalsu watched the battle because his accusations on Arshas was right. Kalsu decided to leave because he had no reason to watch it anymore. He said that if Arshas dies, they would be the next to fight Schneider, so they should prepare. When Schneider approached Arshas, he was punched by her. She released the thunder spirits again, and so did Schneider's fire spirits. Because of the injuries that Schneider received, he was slowly getting weaker, and was being beaten by Arshas. But Arshas was having a hard time, for she could see that Schneider was still not giving up despite the injuries he had on his body. Because of her feelings for Schneider, the accused spell continued to react on it. Meanwhile, Yoko was surprised because what she could see in Arshas was not a bad aura. Schneider and Arshas both decided to use their last attack to finish it off. They both used the ultimate spell of destruction called Halloween. Gera noticed that Schneider's attack was stronger because Arshas was being pushed back, that she was even being hit by stones that were being thrown in her direction. Yoko noticed that Arshas was crying, so she wanted Gera to stop the two of them, but according to Gera it was currently impossible to stop the fight. Suddenly Schneider heard a voice, and it turned out to be Lucian. He showed to him Arshas' true condition, and Schneider immediately noticed the effect of the accused spell on her. Lucian told him that Arshas did not want to die from the spell or to kill him. He said that Arshas just wanted to be killed by the one she loved. Schneider knew that it was Abigail who had done the accused spell on Arshas, and this made him very angry. So he used the transfer magic to cast the Halloween spell elsewhere. He approached Arshas and told her that he would free her from the accused spell. Then he suddenly thrust his hand on his chest and took his heart out. The accused spell was removed from Arshas, and Schneider also died. Yoko lost consciousness, and Gera cried on the sacrifice done by Schneider. Abigail was very happy on Schneider's death because no one would interfere anymore on their plan to revive Anthrazax. Kalsu had also started to attack the kingdom of the White Snake, who was also one of the guardians of the seals. Even the 100 magicians of the White Snake Kingdom could not fight against the power of Kalsu. When Kalsu used the Biscaya, the kingdom of the White Snake was defeated immediately. While Abigail was in another seal-guarding kingdom and ordered his army of undead to attack the Iron Maiden. The king of this kingdom could not do anything anymore, and their kingdom was also being defeated. After that, Abigail also ordered the undead army to march towards the Metallicana kingdom. As Anthrazax's resurrection was fast approaching, Kalsu worried whether they would be able to control it. But Abigail was confident that they could control Anthrazax because, according to him, it was easy for a goblin, was even smarter compared to it. The king spoke to Sheila to tell her about the secret regarding the seal which was in their custody. He told her that the seal that protected their kingdom was placed on something close to Sheila. While Gera could already feel the army of undead approaching the kingdom of Metallicana. He thought that he could no longer rely on Arshas to help in the battle because of what happened to Schneider. But he was surprised to see that she was ready to fight to get revenge on the enemies. They went out to look at the army of the undead, and they saw with them their commander, named Lynch. It was also as strong as Diamond and was almost an immortal being. Meanwhile, Lars visited Schneider, and he could not believe that in his 15-year search for the receiver on the legendary dragon's power, Schneider's body suddenly lit up, which surprised Lars. It returned to Lucian's form, and after Anthrazax's two other seals got broken, Lucian also immediately returned to Schneider's form. At the same moment, Anthrazax opened its eyes and screamed, which caused Schneider to be awakened when he felt its great aura. This was also felt by Geo, and he immediately found out that the two seals had been broken. Yoko felt something strange was happening on Schneider, so she quickly went to him, and they saw that his heart was slowly forming. The fortune teller and Geo sensed evil powers from the darkness and were gathering around Schneider. Meanwhile, outside the palace, Arshas and Gera started to attack Lynch's group, but whatever attacks they made, those could not even cause damage to their opponent. Then Lynch told them that the resurrection of Anthrazax gave those who were its followers from darkness extra powers. When Schneider's heart was restored, Yoko went on top of him and slapped Schneider to wake him up. Because he did not wake up, Yoko called out Lucian and threatened him that she would punish him, and this suddenly caused Schneider to wake up. Those who were outside the palace also felt Schneider's strong aura. So the necromancer, named Doshi, told Lynch to immediately kill Arshas and Gera. Arshas and Gera once again used their most powerful attacks on their enemy, but they still could not take Lynch down. After Lynch's attack, they were thrown away and were injured. When Lynch was about to attack them again, Schneider suddenly came and stomped on Lynch. Schneider beat up both Lynch and Doshi, then he blew up Lynch using his power. Arshas was so happy to see Schneider alive, so she immediately approached and hugged him. While the army of ninjas also defeated the army of the undead after Lynch defeat. When they returned to the kingdom, they were greeted by the cheers of people including Yoko and Sheila. It was followed by a grand party to celebrate their victory. While Yoko was in her room, Schneider came to her pretending to be Santa Claus to return the coin he borrowed. On the other hand, Abigail could not believe on Schneider's resurrection as well as Lynch's quick defeat, even though it was holding the demon mail, which was one of the 3 legendary demonic treasures. Abigail realized that maybe Schneider was more affected by the reawakening of Anthrazax because he had previously led the devils. Kalsu suddenly came and just smiled at what was happening, while Abigail seemed to explode with so much anger at Schneider. Because of this, he ordered the undead Cyclops, named Vivian, who was holding the Devil Mace, which was also one of the 3 legendary demonic treasures, to attack the Metallicana kingdom. While Geo and Gara were talking about the 3 demonic treasures, the news about the Cyclops attack who's holding the Devil Mace reached them. When Doshi saw the girl who was trying to help her mother, Doshi liked the girl's eyes, so he told her that he was going to take them. Before he could do so, Schneider came with Gara and Arshas. He beat up Doshi and took out one of its eyes. So Doshi called Vivian, and as the Cyclops was about to attack them, she was hit first by Schneider's attack. But the injury it got from Schneider's attack quickly healed, and it suddenly changed in form as well. Gara and Arshas were about to join the fight, but Schneider told them not to interfere. Vivian attacked first, causing the ground to collapse and buried Schneider in it. When Schneider got up, he used the Crash Magnum that split Vivian's body, but it once again returned back to normal. Then Vivian used the power of the Devil Mace. It was so strong that it caused the destruction of a large part of the city. Doshi was overwhelmed by this, but he was surprised that Schneider got behind him and once again snatched his other eye, while Vivian seemed restless as if there was a problem with her body. Suddenly something came out of its body, so Schneider asked Gara and Arshas their help to finish Vivian. In order for Schneider to get enough time preparing for his technique, he let the 2 attack Vivian. Using the Black Sabbath, which was also a forbidden spell, it created a big hole in the ground for the underworld, and it absorbed Vivian and Doshi together. When Yoko arrived, Schneider was being boastful again about his powerful technique, but she only scolded him for the damages he did to the city. After Abigail saw what Schneider had done, he said that he would find a way to send the strongest and the king of the undead, named Lich. Kalsu just asked Abigail how he could bring such a creature to their aid. Meanwhile, the ministers were worried about what Schneider was doing because he might be the first to destroy the kingdom before Anthrazax arrives. But according to the king, there was no one else whom they could depend on to defeat Anthrazax and the army of Kalsu and Abigail, but only Schneider. After Vivian's defeat, 2 of the 3 demonic treasures were now in the hands of the Metallicana kingdom, but Geo was in deep thought because he knew that the Devil Mace had not yet released its other power. Since Abigail managed to get the approval of Lich to be their ally, it started attacking the Metallicana and brought a dark gas cloud. Anyone who looked into its eyes immediately suffered as their flesh became rotten. It had reached other parts of the kingdom, then they informed Gara and Schneider about it. Geo told Yoko and the other ministers what happened after the attacks of Anthrazax. He said that the whole world was shrouded in terrifying mystery with the rise of monsters and other scary creatures. One of the horrors of this mystery was the undead. Then he included in their conversation about what happened in the Kingdom of Purple 50 years ago. According to Geo, it was a rich kingdom, but in just one night it turned into a dead kingdom that even a grass could not grow in there. And the cause was the dark gas cloud that Lich used in the kingdom. Geo added that there were 4 chosen to become Eddies using the undead immortalization spell. Each of them had their own dungeon, and although many feared and resent them for using negative magic, they are not direct enemies of humans. Until someone tried to use the Megadeth in a dungeon. Yoko immediately thought that the person Geo was referring to was Schneider. As the gas cloud continued to spread throughout the kingdom, the flame wall was activated to stop it. Schneider Group also arrived, and he knew that it was Abigail who did this. But Arshas was surprised that Abigail was able to get Lich follow its command because Eddies were known to be smarter than humans. But Schneider was not surprised if it was the Eddies who attacked the Purple Kingdom because of what he did in one of the dungeons. It was only this moment that they found out the reason why the Lich got angry, causing it to attack the Purple Kingdom, and it was because of what Schneider did. When Lich passed the flame wall, they immediately approached him. Schneider even said jokingly that Lich seemed to get thinner because its bones were already visible. He continued annoying Lich until it got so angry at Schneider. So Lich attacked him with his decay spell, but it did not affect on Schneider. Meanwhile, Yoko felt the aura coming from the Devil Mace. Arshas felt that the power of Schneider and Lich's magic were gradually decreasing. Arshas asked Schneider to be careful, but he was still confident on his ability. When Schneider attacked using his vengeance, Lich just blocked it with his shield striper. Schneider told him that the shield he created could also prevent its own spell. So Lich revealed the Satan Ring, which was the third demonic treasure. Then he used the Jillian Ian technique to create a black hole. Schneider was about to use the Raven to try to get away, but he did not have enough magic to do it. Geo also felt that he was slowly running out of power, and he immediately thought that it might be caused by the other power of the Devil Mace. So Yoko went to the source of the bad aura that she felt. Schneider lost his grip and was almost sucked into the black hole when Arshas came to save him and used her sword to prevent them from being absorbed. Because of what Lich was saying to Schneider, he was annoyed and let go of Arshas, and was sucked into the black hole. Arshas' sword broke and Gera grabbed it to save her, but Arshas let go of the sword too to follow Schneider into the black hole. After Schneider and Arshas were absorbed by the black hole, Jillian Ian gradually closed. Lich was about to leave when Gera stopped him and told him that the fight was not over yet. The ministers were worried about their kingdom because of what happened to Schneider, but Sheila still believed that he was still alive. When Yoko arrived in a room with a bad aura, she saw the glowing Devil Mace and Abigail. He introduced himself to Yoko and explained why the Devil Mace was glowing. He said that it happened because it absorbed the powers of those people around it. With the demon male, they could also feel that the Satan Ring was just around the corner. According to Yoko, she knew something bad would happen when the three demonic treasures were together, but she did not want to know more about it. Suddenly the light disappeared from the two demonic treasures, and according to Abigail it was because the Jillian Ian had closed. When the fight started between Gera and Lich, Gera immediately used the True Majinkan. But it did not even affect Lich, and it used the Skid Row, which hit Gera and he was thrown away. A ninja suddenly remembered that there was still a way to beat Lich using Murasame, and he was sure that Gera was already planning how to do it. Lich was about to attack again when Gera decided to use the true power of Murasame. When Lich attacked using the Skid Row, Gera just accepted this and it injured him. But after that, Gera used the Yoma Taishan and attacked Lich. Because of this, it caused a lot of damage to Gera. The ninjas were surprised that Lich was not even affected by it. It was because of the Devil Mace that Murasame's power had decreased into halves. But if the full power was used on him, he might have ended with a lot of injuries. Lich was surprised when Gera got up again, but he told him that the flame wall was also losing its flames. Lich added that when it disappeared completely, Schneider would surely be dead too, and it was too late to save them. But Gera did not listen to him and attacked Lich again with Kian Kininkan. Gera was able to beat up Lich. When Gera was about to lose his consciousness, he remembered Schneider's advice to be careful because he was just an extra and he might not live again. The ninjas approached him and they were surprised that Lich rose again. It used the Jillian Ian once again, but Nu suddenly came out of it and immediately bit him. Ifrit was also there to give way, and that was the moment that Schneider and Arshas were able to come out from it. While Nu was still biting Lich, Schneider talked to Gera. Lich managed to get rid of Nu and immediately rushed towards Schneider, but using Ifrit, Schneider split Lich into two. Then Lich confessed his plan to steal the Satan Ring from Abigail. Because with this, he would be able to discover its true power, which was stronger than the power of the God of Destruction. Schneider attacked him again until Lich was defeated and disappeared. Schneider thought that Gera was dead, but it suddenly got up because it was annoyed on his words. Arshas thought about the last words of Lich and suddenly remembered an incident 15 years ago. She saw the Satan Ring and it immediately went to the location of the Demon Male and Devil Mace. Abigail was surprised to see the Satan Ring willingly join the other two demonic treasures. He could not believe that Lich, who was a powerful being, had been defeated even though it was using the Satan ring. As Abigail was about to leave, the 3 demonic treasures lit up again. Other soldiers came, but Abigail easily defeated them in just one attack. Yoko tried to close the iron gate to lock the enemy inside, but Abigail just broke it too. And Abigail planned to find Sheila to get the seal. Then Arshas appeared and told Yoko to leave the place before something bad happened to her. Abigail thought that Arshas would take revenge because of the accused spell he did on her. But Arshas told him that this was not her intention because she just wanted to ask some questions to him. Arshas realized that this could only be answered if he defeated Abigail, so they both prepared to fight. Then she used her Tesla technique, which Abigail had never seen before. Meanwhile, Geo noticed the strange lightning and wondered who was controlling it. Abigail's entry to the palace also reached him and was currently at Yoko's location. The guards also informed the other minister and Princess Sheila about the situation. Arshas knew that Tesla was not enough to defeat Abigail. Then they were surprised when Abigail suddenly appeared behind Arshas and immediately grabbed her on her neck. So Arshas used her power to control the wind. She created a very strong tornado that even Lars had noticed that it was no longer the tornado he saw 15 years ago due to its extreme strength. But Abigail just underestimated it, so Arshas attacked him with the Deen Tr. Geo, together with other ministers and the commander of the Metallicana army, gathered in the king's room to discuss the situation. According to the commander, he still did not trust Schneider. He did not notice that Schneider was just right behind him, who showered him with noodles while Gera was also there enjoying the food. The commander was annoyed and wanted to have duel with Schneider, but Princess Sheila and the king arrived and stopped the commotion. When they seated, the king expressed his gratitude to Schneider and Gera for protecting the kingdom. Schneider told the king that it was fine, but in his mind he was thinking about acquiring the kingdom soon after eliminating his current opponents. Schneider asked Sheila about the last seal, but he already knew that Sheila would not easily talk about it. The king also told Sheila to think carefully before speaking about it. But Schneider told Princess Sheila that she should not hesitate to trust a handsome hero like him. Because of this, Sheila decided to talk about the secret of the last seal. Arshas knew that Abigail had not been defeated yet, but just a few seconds when Abigail got up, he felt the damage caused by Arshas' attack. Abigail got angry and speaking ill of her for her betrayal to a god. But Arshas strongly replied, saying that Anthrazax was not a god, but a demon. Arshas added that she already knew that he was just fooling the 4 divine kings to revive this demon from ancient times. Abigail did not deny it, and this made Arshas angry and summoned Nu, who immediately transformed into a Rajinkan sword. After Sheila told about the secret of the last seal, Schneider thought that it was the necklace that she was wearing because she was always holding it. But to his dismay, Sheila told him that it was not the seal. She said that she just had a habit of touching it whenever she felt nervous. It was only that moment when Schneider and the rest found out that Sheila had the 4th seal inside of her. So Schneider promised that he would protect Princess Sheila. After the attack done by Arshas using the Rajinkan, Abigail fell immediately. But when he stood up, he used the 3 demonic treasures. It transformed into a giant and dragged Abigail inside of it. It made an attack, so Arshas immediately took Yoko and Lars away from the area. The enemy continued to chase and attack them until they end up outside the palace. Arshas attacked with a super ballistic thunderstrike and was about to follow it up with another attack, but she was caught by the opponent. Abigail spoke and told her his plans and the reason why he wanted to revive Anthrazax. He said that he had no intention of changing the world because his true mission was to destroy everything, and this was passed down to him since ancient times. Schneider awakened the golem and immediately went to their location. When Schneider was annoyed on what Abigail had done, he attacked him and aimed at its face. To prevent Schneider in attacking him, Abigail made Arshas his shield because he knew that Schneider was not the same as before, who did not care about other people. Schneider suddenly knelt down and said that he was ready to obey everything Abigail wanted as long as he would not kill Arshas. Abigail was thrilled about this and ordered Schneider to kill himself. But because Schneider could not handle all the nonsense that Abigail was saying, the golem suddenly punched him, causing Abigail to release Arshas. As soon as Schneider rushed unto him, Abigail used the Abigail Collider. Schneider quickly left the golem, and because of Abigail's strong attack, the golem disappeared. They learned from Abigail that the 3 demonic treasures were also made in ancient times and were formed in the same way that Anthrazax was made. He offered Schneider to be his slave, but Schneider quickly rejected it, so he stomped unto him. Abigail thought that Schneider was dead, but it suddenly got up and threw him away. Schneider flew away and he locked Abigail inside a barrier which was an ancient magic. Then he used the Ed Zeppelion, which immediately enveloped the barrier by thousands of demons that he also took from hell. Abigail was terrified of this as the demons feasted on him. When Anthrazax woke up again, it slowly moved, which affected the seal on Princess Sheila's body. A few minutes later, Abigail broke free and immediately attacked Schneider. While Sheila was still writhing in pain, they could see what was happening in the kingdom of Judas where Anthrazax was located. Geo thought that maybe the seal on Princess Sheila was starting to break. Because of the injuries that Schneider suffered, he found it difficult to attack. And in Abigail's anger, he continued attacking on him and repeatedly stomped on Schneider. Because he thought that Schneider was dead, he started to go up the wall to see Princess Sheila. They were all surprised that Abigail knew that the last seal was in Sheila's body. Abigail got excited to get it. He knew that they would put the seal where it was hard to see, and they thought of putting it on Sheila's abdomen. At Sheila's request, Schneider rose again and the power of darkness gathered in him. He used the Halloween, and with its power, it caused damage to a large part of the palace. Unfortunately, it did not affect Abigail. So Arshas came to the rescue and she also used Halloween on Abigail. But no matter how strong their combined Halloween was, it still had not defeated Abigail. The people of the kingdom were starting to lose their hope because of Schneider's condition. Arshas and Gera were about help and to go to Schneider, but Yoko blocked them because she believed that Schneider could not be defeated easily. Geo was already thinking that the seal on Sheila's body might suddenly break if the fight between Schneider and Abigail continued due to the combined power of darkness. Schneider got up again, and after hearing what Yoko said about his sweet prize once the fight was over, he regained great power. When Abigail attacked with the Collider, Schneider countered it with the Exodus. Abigail was confident that it still would not penetrate his armor, but Schneider aimed at the part which was not covered by the armor. Because of this, Abigail exploded, but Schneider's body was torn too. After that, Schneider felt sad because he lost his weapon in the upcoming battle between him and Yoko. Gera realized why Yoko stopped them and why she knew Schneider's condition better than Arshas. But Abigail rose up again and grabbed Yoko. Abigail could not believe that Schneider was able to defeat the combined power of the 3 demonic treasures. Despite the threat of Arshas and Gera to Abigail that 2 of the 4 divine kings were going to fight him, Abigail knew that both of them had their injuries already, that's why he was not swayed by them. While in Schneider's situation, Abigail was in control because he was holding Schneider's weakness. Abigail suddenly attacked Schneider with the tool and he was able to hold onto Arshas and Gera. Abigail made Yoko a shield so that Schneider could attack. But Yoko wanted Schneider to finish the opponent because of its evil plans to destroy the world, even if it means that he had to end her life too. Abigail used the tool on Schneider again and Schneider said that he would choose Yoko over the world. Abigail was entertained by this and he used the tool on Schneider again, but it was blocked by Sean's talisman. Kai was also there, who quickly attacked Abigail, causing him to release Yoko. Abigail mentioned that although he had used almost all of her magic and physical strength, Anthrazax had tissue cells in him that continued in giving him strength. Because of this, he was able to release numerous Ghost Knights. Arshas ordered Sean to guard Schneider and they started fighting the Ghost Knights. But due to the great number of their opponents, they were struggling in the fight. Fortunately, the soldiers and ninjas came there to help them. As they continued to fight the Ghost Knights, Abigail gathered them and created a bigger one. Gera attacked it first with True Majinkan, but it was not affected by the attack. While Arshas used the Tesla, but she also ran out of energy immediately. The gigantic Ghost Knight began to attack using its machine gun strafe. Because of this, Gera lost his arm and Arshas' leg got broken. Schneider dreamed of Lucian and he told him that his mission was not over and he should not die yet. Schneider told him that he would get rid of Abigail and have the world under his control. When he woke up, the fire spirits gathered around him to serve as his feet and hands. Abigail was surprised by what Schneider was able to do and immediately thought that Anthrazax had something to do with it. Even Kalsu was also wondering about Anthrazax's repeated screams. Abigail told Schneider that the power which he was able to use was due to Anthrazax. Schneider was also the most affected by Anthrazax's power due to his previous leadership on evil which being recognized by the demon. As the seal on Anthrazax was disappearing, Schneider was also getting stronger. And if the seal on Princess Sheila was also broken, it was certain that Schneider would have a very strong power. As Abigail continued to talk about Schneider's past, he was suddenly punched by Schneider. Then he ordered his giant ghost knight to attack, but it did not hit Schneider because of its shield. As Schneider recited the spell for Halloween, Abigail tried to get ahead of him but Ifrit came and immediately attacked the giant ghost knight. Because of this, Schneider was able to finish Halloween's spell and attack the giant ghost knight. He also followed it up with Exodus that caused the ghost knight to burn. Schneider released the fire spirits to attack other ghost knights. When he got close to Abigail, he beat him up. But it turned out that Abigail was just waiting for Schneider's strength to run out so he could use the Satan ring. When Schneider stopped punching him, Abigail was about to use the Satan ring but Schneider threw Ifrit on him, causing Abigail to lose his consciousness. The fire spirits on Schneider's body had also disappeared due to his weakness. Yoko approached him and Schneider told her that both him and Lucian loved her. Abigail woke up again and was about to attack Schneider with the tool but Yoko tried to stop him. And when she noticed that Abigail was standing on what was about to collapse, she quickly came to it to push the big stone but she too fell with Abigail. Yoko ended up in the sea while Abigail was impaled on the tower. The darkness gone wild from Abigail's body and suddenly the sky darkened. The palace was slowly crumbling so Arshas embraced Schneider. They almost was about to be crashed by a wall, luckily Gera protected them. As the palace collapsed, they were also engulfed in light. When Schneider separated from his body, he saw Yoko and hugged her. The members of Kalsu's army, also known as the First Army, watched the fall of Metallicana Kingdom. While Kalsu witnessed when Anthrazaxes go back to its deep sleep again. The situation of Metallicana Kingdom reached the samurai's village. Then one of their colleagues spotted something outside so they went to check it. When they opened the door, they saw Yoko and Lucian who was bleeding. Then Yoko desperately begged them to save Lucian. And that's the end of our story. I hope you like it and give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss newly uploaded videos. Thank you for watching.